Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another VTuber song reaction. Today we have Amane Kanata's Betsu Sekai, which I believe is the first fully original song we'll have listened to from a VTuber so far. We've had plenty of covers, we've had plenty of other people composing for the VTuber sing and doing that collaboration work, but this is apparently fully composed and written by the VTuber herself, so that's going to be pretty cool. I've also never heard of Amane, so that's a new name for me completely as well. I don't think I've ever come across her before. I don't believe she was a part of that Hoshimatic Project song I listened to a few weeks back, so this is going to be 100% new in every way, shape, and form, and I guess without further ado, let's go! Woo! That's a fun drum part. Even just right off the bat. It's probably going to be a little bit more straightforward than that, but who knows? Ooh. It's very funk, which I love. Really energetic pre-chorus. Okay! I'm pleasantly surprised. This is really fun. Really well done. And a tasteful break. This is really well composed. This is wholly original too. Color impressed. And not to mention fully animated, I'm just bopping. That guitar tone is beautiful as well. Very minor distortion on it. Very mild. Great funk tone. I'm just jamming. I'm finding myself lost in how fun this is. And the time signature switch-ups? Hello. What, is she secretly a professional musician? That's not something you do for your first composition. I'm a sucker for the floor tom hit right before a chorus kicks back in. I'm a drummer, what can I say? Whew. And the story all the way through too, which I was understanding what was being sung about, by the way. I do speak a little bit of Japanese, so I wasn't completely lost. Okay, so I looked at the credits, and there was somebody who was helping with arrangement and overall programming in the song. So that's probably where some of those more interesting things being done with the time signature switch ups and like the other more like technical aspects may have been done. But also, for all I know, she could be a very seasoned musician and just threw those in herself, and then that was assisted by the rest of the team as well. It's just really cool knowing that she also just wrote everything around this. I'm not sure if she just wrote like the top line and basically had the arranger handle basically the rest of it, which pretty much just means the top line is like the vocal line. She just made the melody that she sang, and everything else was kind of shaped around by the arranger. I've seen that done before, but I've also seen people who write full songs just like kind of keeping it with the standard composition on a piano or a guitar, and then letting somebody else also handle that, basically getting the chord structure down and letting somebody else a little bit more in tune with the technical aspects of music have fun with it, you know? Like, you can write an amazing song, but definitely letting somebody else who is very versed in that field handle the more like nitty-gritty aspects definitely results in a much more like interesting overall composition. Instead of just four chords being played on loop, you have something like this with a lot more breathability, a lot more movement, a lot more freedom, and it just sounds gorgeous. I also saw that there was a guitarist and bassist that were credited, but not a drummer, so I assumed that the drums were programmed, but this arranger and the person who probably programmed those drums did an amazing job at making it feel very organic here too. Something I talk about a lot on this channel is how a lot of the times when people program drums, they don't program them well or in an interesting way at least. They're just very safe and they're covering the overall beat of the song, which is kind of the core value of a drum kit. It's to keep the rhythm, keep the pace, keep the time. But at the same time, having some little extra flourishes like the dancing around on the hi-hat during the second chorus, especially just those little extra taps up there, made it feel much more like there was somebody sitting behind the kit to play. Even down to choosing little things like lifting up the hi-hat pedal once in a while to add some more open tone in there and just adding some danceability to it, really. It's just something that really gets overlooked by a lot of more amateur producers, and it's something that really shouldn't be, because it can shift the entire beat of the song, the entire feel of a song, just by changing a slight bit of the drums overall. In cases like that, where it's little accentual things, it's not usually too big of a change, but you could play like a swing rhythm in a song that's a standard 4/4, like 4 on the floor drum beat dance groove, and it would change the entire feel of the piece. And it's something I think that just a lot of people are afraid to experiment with because they don't really know what to do with that, or they're not well versed enough in how drums work to make it work themselves. So it's just something that I've observed through a lot of these reactions, that I can kind of tell when a drummer is involved, or if at least the producer of the song is very comfortable and aware of how a drum set is supposed to fit into a piece. But it's something I highly encourage any budding producer who may be watching this even to mess around with. Mess with your drums, make it sound stupid, try things out, look up videos of people playing the drums, look up professional players, and utilize some of their feel, put it into your song. Look up a drummer that's close to the song's genre that you're working on. If it's metal, find your favorite metal drummer from your favorite metal band. Just experiment with it, take stuff, borrow stuff, even down to the grooves that they're doing in some of their songs. Just straight up copy them, see what happens, see what feels good. Mess around with them a little bit in your own time if you want to. Like, I don't mind, but I highly encourage you to at least kind of work on that. You know, it's something that just does not get done enough, and it definitely separates the wheat from the chaff when it comes to the overall quality of a song, is how good is a producer with their rhythm section overall. You can do the exact same thing with a guitar or a bass, because that's also a rhythm instrument. You want something that feels good and fits your vibe. But moving on from the nerdy stuff and the preachy stuff, this song, really fun. You could have totally played this in front of me and told me it was like an anime intro, and I would have believed you. I think that this was a beautiful track, and it was produced so brilliantly. Like, overall, I would not have been able to tell if this was somebody's first song or their 50th, 100th, 50,000th song, you know? It is so well produced overall and so well written too. Being able to paint such a beautiful picture about unrequited love by like a staff member versus the talent is something I've actually seen in a pretty close and personal context a few times in my past, and luckily those ended in very mutual terms, like they just understood that things aren't as they may seem between each other. And one time it actually was the talent having a crush on one of their producers, and they had to like snuff that out because it's just like, we can't do this because I need to keep my job, you want to keep yours, this can't work. And that can go both ways. So just seeing it from the one-sided perspective here, it's very relatable to me in a weird way. Like, I've never been a part of these stories, but seeing those friends talk about these situations and how they were able to navigate that, and there was a lot of crossover between their stories and this one, so like this might be based in some reality of some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure how close it may be to her personal life, or if it's like a personal story reframed into maybe dealing with how she is now in her own position as an idol. It might be something like that, but it also could not be. Obviously, I don't know if she actually has gone through any of that stuff or if she is using an inspiration from somewhere. I don't know if she's talked about it, but given how many parallels there are between those experiences I've been told and through this story, it's like, she might have been through some of that at some point in her career, even if it was prior to her current career, you know? Even down to that ending bit where it just kind of gets snuffed out and the person who's having this one-sided love to this other person is just like, you know what? For their sake, and I need to understand what's going on here, we can't be doing that anymore. I'll take the back seat here and just enjoy you as a fan. And that is almost exactly one of those scenarios I've talked about before. It's weird that I have multiple stories about this, but I guess it's more common in the entertainment industry than I would have thought, but I'm not like directly in entertainment. Despite what I do here, I've never really had a real connection in any field when it comes to that sort of thing. So I'm just kind of existing vicariously through other people and their experiences and their stories that they have. And this is just one that kind of hits a little close to those ones. So it makes me go, probably based on real stuff. So yeah, very well written, of course, beautifully performed too. Like I said earlier, you could have told me that this was a full song written by a team that was hired for an anime intro or outro, and I would have totally believed you because it's just that well produced and performed and written. And really, I've got no notes on this one. So an amazing song by a new artist I hadn't heard from before. I did see that there was the Hololive tag in the title after I did the intro, and I'm like, okay, maybe she was in the Hoshimatic project, but I'm not sure. I could have just missed her. It's been a few weeks, so like I don't recognize who was on screen at that point anymore. I only remember like 2 or 3 by name at this point. But if you have any other songs by her or anyone else you want me to get to, by all means leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to get to them as always. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and you want to follow me for those in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!